Welcome back. Well, we have Ro Kendall here and Steve Jackson, who are here on behalf of the Republican Club. Well, welcome both of you. How are you?
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you for joining us again, and then
Awesome.
welcome to the show. And
Thank you.
You've got quite a stack there of lots of different books, and so you must be well versed in lots of different things associated with government and voting and the Constitution, which we will get to in just a bit. But before we get into that, Ro, just tell me briefly about the Republican Club.
The Republican Club is so many things, really. It's a social organization. I mean, we want to, hang out with people that have similar values, goals, and that's one good part of it. We also get politically involved. We're out there to get the vote.
Right.
We promote that, and we always have these great speakers. And
Yes.
I brought one with me today.
And you did, and he's going to be speaking at an event that you have coming up. And let's get to know you a little bit. Tell me about yourself.
My name is Steve Jackson, and I'm a retired aerospace engineer.
Okay.
I spent my career, or the majority of it, working on manned space programs.
Okay.
First, well, it began with the 747, actually, right out of college.
Wow.
And then there were a few years off doing other things. And then I went to work for Rockwell on the space shuttle program.
Okay.
I spent 6 years there.
Okay.
And then I moved to McDonnell Douglas to work on the proposal for Space Station.
Okay.
That program took the next 19 years of my life, and then I retired.
Okay. And then what did you do in your retirement?
Well, I love sharing early American history and teaching Constitution.
Okay.
And obviously the Constitution is based on the principles in the Declaration of Independence, so that is foundational. And I also teach on that. That will be the topic of what I'm talking about next Friday.
Now, do you teach at a college, or do you teach where do you teach?
I have taught in many places at many different levels.
Okay.
I have taught a college class.
Okay.
I normally teach adults
Okay.
using John Eidsmoe's Institute on the Constitution series.
Okay.
I have short presentations on the Constitution and the Declaration also. And I did tutor some 8th grade level homeschoolers just a few years back.
Okay.
That was one of the highlights of my life, actually.
Get them early.
Yeah, that was awesome. They were hungry learners, and wow, that was any teacher or tutor's dream.
Yeah,
It was
I'd
just a
have
wonderful
to say that
experience.
my children both enjoyed history a lot. They really did, and it has to do with the teaching, right? I mean, if a teacher really is enthusiastic and loves what they're teaching, then the kids are going to learn, right? And because they're going to love it just as much. Now, I know that you're going to be presenting at the upcoming event. So, briefly go over some of the things that you share with people. I mean, we have a couple of slides, and you broke them down into little chunks. So let's take a look at those, and just give me an overview of those.
Well, I title my presentation on the Declaration, Laying the Foundation. My degree was actually in civil engineering with a major in structures. And so, being a structures guy, I understand the importance of foundations and laying a firm foundation.
Right.
And that is certainly what our Declaration did. The Declaration principles are not just important, they're absolutely vital
Right.
to understanding the Constitution itself.
Right.
So I always like to begin with the American view of law and government, which is laid out beautifully in the Declaration of Independence.
Okay. And so let's go ahead and look at them. We're just going to go down the slide real quick and just kind of give us an overview like you just said. So laying the foundation is number 1.
Yes.
And then what is number 2?
Well, really, if you wanted to take it that way, number 2 would be organizing the powers, which is
Okay.
about the Constitution.
Okay.
And because that's what the Constitution does, it organizes the powers of what was then the new federal government in such a way that the people of our country can enjoy their God-given freedoms.
Exactly. All right. And number 3?
Well, number 3, I see you have new guards for future security. That was based on an idea which I actually borrowed from another gentleman who teaches the Constitution, and that is that in the Declaration of Independence, there are many grievances listed against King George. And it turns out that 11 years later, when they met again in Philadelphia to draft the Constitution, one of their guiding principles was 11 of those grievances have specific provisions in the Constitution to prevent anything like that ever happening here in this country.
Okay.
So, new guards for future security. And by the way, laying the foundation, organizing the powers, and new guards for future security, those may sound like somewhat awkward titles, but I chose those phrases specifically because they are all in the Declaration of Independence.
Okay. All right. And then the last thing that you've referenced is called Miracles Happen Only Once. What do you mean by that?
Well, that's one of my favorites. The miracle at Philadelphia gave us our Constitution.
Right.
And in that case, miracles do only happen once. Many people are really interested in calling a new constitutional convention. They have the best of intentions because certainly our federal government has broken the bounds of the Constitution and have exceeded their authorities in so many ways
Right.
that usurp our rights and our freedoms. But it's a wrong-headed idea to call another constitutional convention because there are powers aligned on both sides of the political fence that are anxious for that convention. And it's the nature of anything political that we must compromise. And so I have to ask people who are true friends of the Constitution at such a convention, exactly what are you willing to give away to the political left so that you would achieve the few key amendments that you're looking for?
Right.
And I think that's a very powerful message that needs to be heard. So miracles happen only once. Don't count on another miracle happening with the quality of persons that we would send to such a modern day convention. They could not begin to hold a light to the founding fathers.
Exactly. And I'm imagining, Ro, this is why you are having him speak, because of these very things are being challenged. Our Constitution is challenged every day by, like you said, all different parties. It doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. And that's a really good point that he raises. You know, what are you willing to give up? Because you know what? You're making those choices for everybody, not just yourself. And so, you know, or not just for everybody, but for you too. Exactly. So tell me about the event.
The event is our general meeting luncheon. It's with, it's going to be on April 7th at Clubhouse 5, and it starts at 11, and lunch is served at 12:15. So the other thing I want to mention is that we're putting together a class. We're working on it now, details to be determined. It is a class, what is it, 12 sessions on the Constitution.
Oh, okay.
In the village here. So we're going to get that together and let you all know when that's happening.
Great.
So that if people are really interested and they want to know the basis and everything our country has been built on, and it's the best system that's ever been in, you know, happened. Happened. That's a good word, isn't it?
Happened, happening, whatever you want to say, right? Because like we said, you know, things are being challenged. And for those of us who have been around a while, we're like, you know, we're not so sure you want to go down that path because, you know, look what they've already done. So it's kind of like you have to remind people what the Constitution is, especially when you talk about teaching younger people, you know, 8th grade or whatever it is, even younger than that, because they don't know and they need to understand it. So thank you for all of the great information. I appreciate it, and thank you for being here again.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
If you want more information about the Republican Club or the event that they're having, you just go to the LagunaWoodsVillage.com website, type in Republican Club, and it'll bring you right to the information. We'll be right back.